One of the things that people always want to find out in real estate investing is, how do I make money in the beginning? Because yeah, not a lot of people have like $300,000 sitting in the bank so they can go out and buy a rental house. The one thing that we started off doing was wholesaling, and that is part of what we teach in our mastermind. One thing I want you guys to know about wholesaling is it's a great way to get started. And I think we talked about bird dogging a couple of weeks ago, which is simply just finding deals for other people. Wholesaling is finding deals for other people, but you're putting it under contract. So you hold the keys to the kingdom. You can actually take that contract and sell it to somebody else. So if that sounds interesting and you want to learn more about that, stay tuned and we'll get right into it. All right, so the first deal we ever did in real estate was a wholesale deal. And this was 15 years ago. We put 2 houses under contract in a month. The very first month we were doing real estate. And we learned how to do that through a course at an investment club. And as I said, it was 15 years ago. We ended up getting a house under contract. We ended up making $3,000 on that one. The second one, we made the same amount because we were working for somebody else and that's what they paid. But literally made $6,000 our first month in real estate doing wholesaling. On top of that, because of what we learned from wholesaling, we were also able to put a mobile home under contract that same month, which we eventually, 2 months later, sold for a $14,000 profit. So guys, there are ways to make money in real estate without spending a lot of money. And let's talk about exactly how that works. A wholesale deal is simply finding a property and putting it under contract as if you're going to buy it, and taking that contract and selling it to somebody else that's interested in buying it, to either flip it, hold it, move into it, doesn't really matter. These are typically cash deals. So you're going to put it under contract as a cash buyer. So you're going to take this contract and you're going to go out and shop it around, so to speak. We do it online. We don't actually go and talk to people. You're going to take this contract and show it to people and ask them if they want to buy it. Now, there's a lot of different kinds of people that are going to be buying it. As I said earlier, there's flippers. There are people that also wholesale that know a lot of investors, and sometimes they'll come to you and say, hey, look, I'm a wholesaler too, but I have a buyer for that contract. If you give me $5,000, I will get the price that you're asking for it. And oftentimes we've done that because we didn't have a buyer for it, especially in the beginning. Now we've got a pool of buyers that we've been working on for the past 15 years that are true buyers, right? We know that they're buyers because they've bought from us in the past. One of the places that we find our buyers is through Facebook groups. There's investment groups on Facebook. If you look in your area, let's say you live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, just go to Facebook and search Albuquerque, New Mexico real estate groups, and something's going to pop up. And start posting, guys. Get to know everybody in there, and when you've got a deal, post it. One thing I want to tell you guys, though, is make sure it's a righteous deal, meaning make sure there's meat on the bone for people to make money. What happens more often than not when new wholesalers come to me with deals, because I buy a lot of deals from wholesalers, that those first few deals aren't any good, right? They're just learning. They get a house under contract for $300,000. It's worth $350,000 after it's fixed up. There's not enough meat on the bone for me to make any money on that. In fact, I'm going to lose money on that deal. But they don't really understand the way it all works. They're just excited. They get something under contract, and that's what they put out into the world. The problem with that is you're going to put out 7 or 8 of those bad deals, and nobody will ever open your email again. So you want to make sure that the first deal you put out is a good deal. Don't test the waters. Make sure it's a good deal. Let's say you've got that really great deal now. You've got it under contract and you're going to send it out to people and someone's going to bite on that. What's the next step? Okay, they say, yeah, Mark, me, I would love to buy that deal. What do I do now? So now you're actually going to sell them your contract. You've got a contract to buy that house at a certain price. You're just going to take and transfer that over to them. Assign it to them, and they're going to pay you through escrow. When they close escrow, you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid your fee. So let's say you've got the house under contract for $100,000, and you're going to sell it to this investor for $110,000. That's your $10,000 that you get to keep for finding that deal. Now he's going to take and put $50,000 into it and sell it for $250,000. He's going to make his money, you make your money. Yes, he's making more money than you, but all the risk is on him. You've got $0 into the deal. That's the glorious thing about wholesaling, and that's why so many investors get started there. A lot of people never leave the wholesaling space. It's an excellent business model. But like us, now we'll wholesale, we flip, we buy and hold, we do all three of those items, and we do all three of those things in our business because we want to generate as much money as possible. So you're going to find deals sometimes that maybe aren't quite right for you, but another investor thinks it's a great deal for them, or maybe it's a little bit too far out of your area. Wholesale it. That's as simple as that. You wholesale it to somebody else. Let them do their thing. You've got your money. You can move on to something that's a little bit closer to home maybe. That's what I love about wholesaling. So we live in a very large metropolitan area of Orange County, California. But we wholesale in all the counties around us: Riverside, San Bernardino, LA, and and also Orange County. So we can cover a vast area by wholesaling because we're not sending construction crews out there. We don't have supply issues, things like that. When we flip houses, we try to keep it a little bit closer to home. If it's out of our area, we'll simply wholesale it because we've got so many people that buy from us right now. Another place to find buyers would be Home Depot, guys. A lot of investors that are there picking up stuff. It's so easy to start a conversation in the aisle of Home Depot. I've not only found good buyers there, I've also found great contractors that have been with me for years. It's just great to talk to everybody that you meet at Home Depot because you never know who they are. A lot of fellow investors, a lot of contractors that work for investors, subcontractors, electricians, plumbers. Guys, you're going to fill up your phone book or your phone with phone numbers that are very, very useful. Get used to talking to people at Home Depot. One of the other things that I do at Home Depot is I check out what people are driving. Sounds silly, but if they're driving a white service bed truck, well, I know they're probably a worker guy. If they're driving an F-150, they're probably more than likely an investor or something like that. So you can kind of gauge who they are and what they do by what they drive. And I also look and see how clean the trucks are and how neat they are. If it's going to be someone that I'm going to be using on a job site, I want to make sure that their truck reflects the kind of work that I want done on my job site. All right, but getting back to investors though, there's another place that you can meet them, and that is at investor meetups. Guys, investor meetups are very key to learning the real estate business. That's exactly how we got started. That's how we took our very first course, was an investor meetup where they actually offered a wholesaling course that my wife and I both took. And again, don't forget, we made $6,000 very, very quickly. Not saying you're going to get the same results. We worked it really hard. We were 10 hours a day probably for the first 30 days, 7 days a week, putting out offers, looking at properties, doing the things that it takes to get good wholesale deals. If you're willing to put in that much work, you'll probably land your first deal much quicker. And by the way, we've touched on the subject of bird dogging. If you're not quite ready to take that leap into wholesaling, bird dogging is another great way to make some extra money. Now, you're not going to be getting paid thousands of dollars for a deal because you're not literally putting it under contract. But let's just give you an example of how that might work. Let's say you decide you're going to go into a neighborhood and you're going to go to the houses that are very distressed in that neighborhood. You're going to knock on those doors and you're going to ask those people if they're interested in selling their home. And eventually you're going to find someone that says yes. The numbers always play out in this game. It just depends on how many no's you can handle before you get that first yes, right? It's like kind of asking girls to dance at a dance. And the guys that are really tenacious, you notice they dance the most, right? Now, they get turned down the most too, but they're not afraid to keep trying. You've got to have that same attitude and mental fortitude when you're out door knocking. So let's go back to it. Let's just say someone says, yeah, I'm interested in selling my house. Great. What did you think you might want to get for it? Oh, well, I'm looking to get $300,000 for it. Great. If you do me a favor, I need your name and number so that I can go home and write up a proposal for you. And then I'll bring my partner over and we'll see where we're at. You're simply getting their information. You're finding out for sure that they want to sell. And then you're going to go to one of your trusted investors. You don't want someone to go around you, but someone that you trust. And you're going to tell them, hey, look, I found Mr. Smith on XYZ Street. He's interested in selling. He said he would take $300,000. I checked the comps. Houses in this neighborhood are selling for $500,000 fixed up. I think it's a good deal. I think we should go out and talk to him. And then you take your investor out, set up an appointment with Mr. Smith, and you go out and hopefully you close the deal. Now, if that deal closes, you will get a predetermined amount of money for setting up that lead. Now, it's anywhere from $500 to $5,000. It just depends on the deal, depends on how generous your investor is. But I don't think anybody usually gets less than $1,000 for that. But think about it. You're out learning, how to talk to people. You're out doing real estate deals, right? You're not just sitting on the sidelines watching videos hoping something will fall in your pocket. And you're getting to know the business. And you're working with an investor that hopefully is experienced and can teach you some things too. And you're making money on top of it. Guys, you can do this on the weekends. You can do it in the evenings, which is the best time to door knock anyway. And you can make some extra money. And then hopefully the investor will bring you in. Eventually what you can do is you can actually put those houses under contract. And now you've become a much more valuable commodity to that investor because you've actually got a piece of paper that says, yes, I've got this house under contract for $300,000 now. Mr. Investor, I'm going to be asking $325,000 for it because I got it under contract. And Mr. Investor, if he's smart, is going to go, yeah, that's still $175,000 I've got to play with and get a profit out of. I'd be glad to pay you $25,000 for that. Think about that. Zero money out of your pocket, nothing but your time. You just made $25,000 on a wholesale deal. That's why wholesaling is such a strong, strong thing and why I strongly recommend most people start out there. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. By the way, do me a favor. Justin does a lot of editing, puts a lot of time. He's behind the camera right now. Puts a lot of time and effort into this. Like it, subscribe to our channel, and sign up for notifications so that you can find out every single time we drop a new video. It makes him so happy to see that subscription rate go up, people subscribing to our channel. It's very fun for both of us to see that. So please do that for us. And if you're interested in learning how to do any of this, our Deals to Profit Mastermind is open right now and enrollment is going. So please go to the link down below, sign up for that, and learn a little bit more about what we teach and how we teach and a little bit more about myself. And guys, look forward to seeing you, and I'll see you next time.